So in today's video, we are going to be discussing Melvin Ingram signing with the Miami Dolphins. Now, before we get into the video, please consider liking and subscribing, and let's jump right into the video. So Melvin Ingram signed with the Miami Dolphins, and if we're looking at the Chiefs side of things, earlier this offseason, the Chiefs used the unrestricted free agent tag on Melvin Ingram. So basically, Melvin Ingram was still free to sign with literally whatever team he wanted to. There was no limitations on what teams that Melvin Ingram could sign with. Now, there was a deadline. It was the July 22nd. That's when the deadline ended. So anything after that, Melvin Ingram would be exclusive to the Chiefs, and I think the Chiefs would be the only ones he could negotiate a contract with. But up until then, Melvin Ingram was able to sign with whatever team he wanted to, and he ended up signing with the Miami Dolphins. And because of that, because of placing that unrestricted free agent tag on Melvin Ingram, the Chiefs get an extended deadline when it comes to compensation picks for the draft. And now that Ingram did sign with the Dolphins, the Chiefs get extra draft picks basically coming up. So it kind of worked out for the Chiefs. And by placing it on him, the Chiefs were just kind of hoping for something beneficial when it came to Melvin Ingram. And I think they did get it. You know, getting draft picks is never a bad idea. And with the way that Brett Veach is going the last couple of years, going big on the draft, trying to get young talent in the draft and develop them rather than signing older guys, I think this was a really smart move when it comes to the Chiefs and by Brett Veach. But it also means that the Chiefs were probably likely willing to move off of him, because if they really wanted to keep him, they would have signed him to an extension, or he probably would have been offered a bigger contract by now. So basically, the Chiefs were kind of willing to let Melvin Ingram walk. They just kind of wanted something for him. They just wanted to be able to get something beneficial out of it. And getting draft picks is never a bad idea for the future that Brett Veach is trying to build for the Chiefs. So all in all, when it comes to the Chiefs side of things, at least when it comes to the unrestricted free agent tag part of it, the Chiefs did benefit from it, and Melvin Ingram is now able to go play for the Miami Dolphins. But because of that deadline of July 22nd, it kind of forced Melvin Ingram's hand. So basically, by placing that, the Chiefs were basically telling Ingram, you know, we need a decision by July 22nd. And by putting that tag on Melvin Ingram, it basically gave the Chiefs a time frame of like, okay, we know that we have until July 22nd, and then once that date passed, then we kind of know what's going on. But it just kind of put pressure on Melvin Ingram to decide to sign somewhere. It didn't matter really where, just decide to sign somewhere. So the Chiefs could kind of structure the future of their team, so they knew what they were getting, and so they knew what they had to do with the remaining time that's left in the offseason. Mainly get some more help on the defensive line, maybe go after a guy like Jadeveon Clowney. Now, is that likely? Probably not, because Clowney's going to want probably more money than the Chiefs are willing to offer. But basically, by putting that tag on there, it basically gave the Chiefs a deadline, so they knew what was going to happen with their team basically. So all in all, nothing really too fancy when it comes to it. But when it comes to Ingram actually being away from the team, it does kind of hurt just a little bit, because while I think Karlaftis has potential to be great for the Chiefs on that defensive line, it is going to be his first year, and I think putting that much expectation on him is kind of unrealistic. I do think it's a step in the right direction to add a guy like Karlaftis to that defensive line, and it's hopefully going to help out Frank Clark, who struggled last year, and then hopefully help Chris Jones get more pressure on the quarterback, because, you know, when Chris Jones really being the only guy on that defensive line last year that was doing anything productive, the defensive line really struggled. So I like Karlaftis, but at the same time, I would have loved a little bit more depth, and losing Ingram kind of does stink. I would have loved for him to stick around for at least one more year. Now, the money issue, it may have been too big of a contract to take on for a guy at Ingram's age, but I think when it comes to money, I think Ingram is just very valuable in general, because I don't think there's really a price tag that you can place on him. I just think he's that good of a player, and he has that much of an impact on a team. But like I said, one more year for the Chiefs would have given them another year and a cushion year almost to develop, and then head into next year's draft and select more players. So at the end of the day, it kind of stinks that Ingram is gone, because if you look what he did with Kansas City last year, the Chiefs were a terrible defense before Melvin Ingram showed up in Kansas City last year. Opponents were averaging over 27 points a game against Kansas City last year, and the defense was really struggling. And then they brought in Ingram, and that total went down dramatically. It instantly changed. They dropped all the way down to 16 points per game in games that Melvin Ingram was playing in. So he had a massive impact. He may have been a part-time player. He may have been a guy that was only in there in crucial situations, but those crucial situations mattered, and he stepped up in those moments. So there's value that Ingram brings to the field that, you know, you can't just chalk up to numbers, because his numbers aren't great. Don't look at his numbers, because a guy like Ingram's not a numbers guy. He's a guy that's going to make an impact on the football field, and he did that last year for the Chiefs when he came in and help that defense that was on track to be one of the worst defenses of all time. So Ingram, he can't chalk him down to numbers. He's more of a guy that's just a special veteran talent that you're really going to like on your football team. And I think Miami Dolphins are going to love having him. He's not going to be a guy that's going to be playing every single snap for the Miami Dolphins, but he's a guy that's going to have a major impact, I think, on their defense, a defense that is stacked with talent. They picked up the fifth-year option on Christian Wilkins. They've re-signed Emmanuel Ogbah, so they have great talent. And then you just add a veteran presence like Melvin Ingram, who can step in if you need one big play, he can give it to you, along with the other pieces of that defense that are absolutely loaded. And then you add on to the fact that the Dolphins went all out on the offensive side of the ball, getting Tyreek Hill. Melvin Ingram gets a team back up with Tyreek Hill again this year. So you look at the offensive side of the ball, you look at what Miami's doing as a whole. The Miami Dolphins are just going absolutely insane this offseason, especially when it came to their free agency and the guys they picked up, who they traded for. The Miami Dolphins have a potential to be an absolutely amazing team this year. I don't know what their full potential is. I'd have to look deeper at their schedule. But if you're looking at the Dolphins, they're set up to succeed. They're setting up to be as successful as possible. They brought in Mike McDaniel. So the Miami Dolphins are definitely building in the correct direction, and bringing in an older guy like Melvin Ingram is definitely the right direction that you want to go for a team like the Dolphins, a team that's really what they've done this offseason is put them in a situation where they want to win right now. And they have an uphill climb, especially in their division, getting past Buffalo. The Patriots are always going to be tough. Give credit to the Jets. They've made the correct moves. They have an uphill climb to go up. But I think all in all, I think what the Dolphins have done is just great. And I think they're going to be a really fun team to watch next year. So for the Dolphins, this is great. For the Chiefs, it kind of does stink, because what Melvin Ingram did bring to the Chiefs last year is something that you just can't chalk up to numbers. It's going to be hard to replace like that. And then you also lose a veteran guy like Honey Badger as well, Tyrann Mathieu going to the Saints. There's a lot of pieces that the Chiefs have lost that were key to the defense last year to helping them be successful. And losing Melvin Ingram is one of them. Like I said, I would have loved Ingram to be back for even one more year, give them a bit of a buffer, and then next year's draft they can continue their plan, their vision of developing through the draft, getting better through the draft. I would have loved that. But with Melvin Ingram gone, there's still time in this offseason. They now know that they get a draft pick out of it, and they can still go after, if they want to, a trade, or if they want to, they can go after some of the guys that are still left on the market, even though that's very slim. There's still time in this offseason for the defensive line to get better, but as of right now, this move, it really does stink. But those are my thoughts on Melvin Ingram signing with the Miami Dolphins. Give me your thoughts down below of Melvin Ingram signing with the Miami Dolphins, and I'll see you in the next one.